Here we'll take a look at a few of our fiber cement and composite siding and trim assemblies. So over in our estimating tab, we've already got some location folders set up, and we've selected the names of how we want to organize our materials. To do that, we just select our BidPro Siding location folders. We've got one main folder that we can click and drag as many times over into our estimating tab and set up as many folders as we need to. Okay, so we'll go to our wood and fiber cement composite siding folder, to our siding folder. We've got three main siding assemblies that you can duplicate as many times as you need to and make your pre-selections to set up however many different types of siding assemblies that you want to duplicate, rename, and pre-set up for different siding types that you use frequently. So if we're going to do lap siding, we've got our assembly name we can change here if we want, our waste percentage, and an amount per square foot for a bid report. Then we go to our siding tab and actually select our siding material. We'll leave this at fiber cement, cedar mill, lap. And again, all of these drop downs come from your lists, your custom lists that come with a plugin that you can modify or change however you want. So we'll do a siding panel width of 8 1/4 inches, panel length of 12 feet, and a vertical exposure of 7 inches. And here we can pick up our house wrap if we need to get that as well. We can set up our roll size, how many layers we need, and give it a description as well. And then here at our folder drop down, you can see the 4 folders that we have at in the estimating tab. We'll want to put this in the siding folder. Click OK, and we'll just do a little bit of quick siding takeoff here. Okay. Then if we want to back out our windows, we can just right click, select subtract from section, back our windows out. Okay, let's pick up a little bit of trim. So let's say we've got, go back to our siding assemblies, and let's say we've got a 6-inch corner trim here that we need to pick up. So we'll get into our trim folder, to our fiber cement composite trim assembly, and again you can duplicate this and set up as many different trim types as you want. We'll call this assembly 6-inch corner trim. We've got a bid amount per foot that we can assign to it. We'll set our line width to 6, waste percent at 5%. We'll leave it there. Okay, now we'll select our actual trim. So let's say we want a 5 1/4 by 5 1/2 wood grain. Okay, for our trim. Trim material length is going to be 12 feet, and we'll give it a description of corner trim. Click OK. Take off our corner. Let's say we've got, we'll go ahead and get this one too. Okay, now let's say we want to pick up, we've got some 4-inch trim we need to get for our window trim. We'll call this 4-inch. Window trim. So we'll leave our line width at 4. Alright, let's say we want 5 1/4 by 3 1/2 wood grain for the window, or that's 4 1/4. Yeah, 5 1/4 by 3 1/2 wood grain. Again, we've got our material length we can select. How many plates? Let's say you needed, you're going to do 2 layers of 4 1/4 trim. Then you could select how many plates you want to figure. And we'll leave the description at window trim. And we're going to put this material in our exterior trim folder. So we'll do that drop down. Select OK, run around and do our trim takeoff for our 4-inch trim. Okay, and actually my 6-inch corner trim I left in my siding folder. I need to drag that down into my exterior trim folder. Okay, now let's say we need to pick up some 8-inch trim. Set our line width to 8. And let's say we want 4/4 by 7 1/4 wood grain, 12 footers. Let's call that description trim, and we want it to be placed in our exterior trim folder, so we just click OK. We can go through and take off some trim, 8-inch trim. Okay, now let's say we need some flashing. So we'll go down here to in our miscellaneous folder to our flashing, and we'll call this window flashing. And again, we've got custom lists with some different flashing types in it that you can change however you need to. For now, we'll just keep it at aluminum roll, 6-inch, 50-foot roll length, and description of window flashing. We'll put this in our flashing folder, click OK, and we can go through and pick up anywhere that we need flashing. Okay, finally we'll take a look at our fiber cement soffit and fascia assembly. Again, you've got a bid amount per foot you can plug in there, waste percentage. So in this assembly we've got 2 different size fascia boards, or 2 different types of fascia boards that we can select. We'll change the material length here to 12. So we got a 4/4 by 5 1/2, and then we got a 4/4 by 2 1/2. So if we had a 2-piece fascia, we could do that. Soffit. We'll stick with the cedar mill vented soffit, and we can select our material, soffit material width here. 16 inches fine, and then our material length of 12 foot. If for some reason you wanted some pop-in Soffit vents, you could select that here. We're going to just choose NA to turn that off since we've got a vented soffit. And again, you've got 2 different types of freeze trim that can be added to your assembly as well. And we'll put this in the cornice folder. Do a little bit of quick overhang takeoff. Okay. So with the assemblies we used, we'll click over the reports real quick and take a look at what that looks like. So if we look at our siding materials by location report, for our siding you can see our 8 1/4 by 12 foot fiber cement cedar mill lap. We need 19 pieces of that. We can pick up our wall wrap and tape there as well. For our exterior trim, you can see the 8-inch trim that we took off, the 4/4 by 7 1/4 by 12 foot. We need 3 of those. We need 5 pieces of 12-foot window trim, 2 pieces of 5 1/2 corner trim. For our cornice material, you can see it's also created a material list for all of our cornice materials. Well, tells us what the material is, the length of the material, a description, how many pieces, and then finally at the bottom tells us how many rolls of 50-foot flashing we need. The consolidated report is just going to create one consolidated list for the whole project that could be used as a purchase order or just to send out to vendors, multiple vendors for pricing. And then your bid detail report is going to organize your bid by the location folders as well. So you can see for each one of your assemblies, here's what the assembly was named. It shows you your quantities and what the calculation is for your bid amount. There's also the ability when you set up each new job to put in a markup percentage if you would like. When I set this job up, I didn't put in a markup percentage, so it's not going to calculate anything there. But if you wanted to put a 10%, 15% markup, whatever you typically figure on a bid, you can plug that in as you set the job up, and it will add it into your bid total.